Mr. Widemouth. Mr. Widemouth is also known as the Killer Furby, and for good reason. He resembles an uncanny children's toy, covered in fur and sporting a disproportionately wide mouth lined with teeth. He specializes in manipulating children to do violent things to themselves, usually resulting in death. In the creepypasta by the same name, Mr. Widemouth fixates on the protagonist, a 5-year-old boy diagnosed with mononucleosis. Mr. Widemouth appears and starts to play with the boy at night, ducking under the bed when the boy's parents check on him. For 3 days, Mr. Widemouth wakes the boy in the middle of the night to play. Finally, the creature lures the boy to a room down the hall and tells him to jump out the window, claiming that if he imagines a trampoline hard enough, he'll bounce back up. The boy refuses, but Mr. Widemouth doesn't relent and continues trying to convince the boy to do things he shouldn't, like juggling knives and following the creature down a trail. The boy survives through continuing to refuse. At the end of the story, the boy returns to the house to find it burned to the ground. It's unclear whether Mr. Widemouth burned with it. At the end of the trail, Mr. Widemouth tried to lead the now-grown boy down. He finds a cemetery full of children's graves. We're not totally convinced this is a creepypasta, rather than just something someone's Furby did. The Skin Taker. The Skin Taker is the aptly named villain of Candle Cove, a fictional children's television show from the creepypasta of the same name. He's a skeleton marionette puppet with a top hat and cape. Both are made from the skin of his victims. His glass eyes are too big for their sockets, and when he speaks, his jaw moves back and forth rather than up and down. In Candle Cove, as described in the original story, the Skin Taker psychologically tortures the protagonist, Janice. He is the subject of nightmares for children who watch the show. By the end of the story, it's revealed that those who remember it only ever watched empty static on their televisions for 30 minutes, implying that something more sinister was behind the memory. The Skin Taker's role varies. Sometimes he acts as an omen. In others, he's a source of terror and emotional turmoil. In others still, he's an outright aggressor, violently skinning his victims alive. It's still not clear where he gets the strength to be so violent. He's got no meat on his bones. In 2016, Candle Cove was adapted into Season 1 of a real show Channel Zero. In the series, the Skin Taker is split into two characters, a maniacal puppet in the children's program and, in an alternate dimension, a humanoid creature wearing a large, baggy skin suit that moves in bizarre ways. He is abusive toward both viewers and fellow characters, often screaming loudly, lashing out, and of course adding victims to his costume. The Skin Taker and Carl from Llamas with Hats have very similar fashion sense. Ben Drowned. Ben Drowned is a 2010 story involving a corrupted Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask game cartridge. The narrator, a new college student, receives the game from a mysterious, potentially grieving old man. When he fires up the game for the first time, he finds that there's an existing game file saved under Ben. As the protagonist creates a new file and continues playing, he's relentlessly stalked by the unnerving Elegy of Emptiness statue, a soulless Link duplicate with a dead-eyed stare. The game grows stranger with every session. Link bursts into flames, the screen bleeds, and distorted music plays in reverse. He even communicates with Ben directly by speaking to Cleverbot when Ben mysteriously opens the site on his computer. It becomes obvious that the game is haunted by the spirit of a boy named Ben, who supposedly drowned under mysterious circumstances. The protagonist documents the game through chilling blog posts and videos. In them, he becomes paranoid and terrified. The game itself is haunted, but the unsettling events and angry spirit bleed into the real world. The narrator becomes increasingly uncertain what's real and what's not. The story ends with a desperate plea by the narrator to be careful with what he's posted, since he isn't sure exactly how Ben spreads through devices. He seems to think the game will kill him, and in all likelihood, it did. If it wasn't the demonic Nintendo game that got him, though, it would have been something more terrifying. Finals. The Rake. The Rake is a creature from an urban legend and creepypasta with gleaming white eyes, pale skin, and unnaturally long limbs. Walking the line between human and animal, it's sometimes described as a naked man or a hairless dog. It chooses its victims indiscriminately, showing no mercy for the old or the weak. While brutal during its attacks, it shows restraint and intelligence by carefully stalking and understanding its victims first. It often is able to gain entry to their homes or intercept them during their daily routines. That might be the most terrifying aspect of the creature, that it exhibits similar behavior to a Reddit mother-in-law. When an anonymous user posted a list of ideas for monsters on 4chan in 2005, the user later followed up by extrapolating details about the creature. Another unrelated user posted a short story on the Something Awful website, and the Rake was born. Since then, the monster has undergone thousands of interpretations and usages, appearing in horror theater, a bespoke video game, a film, and several short stories. The legend has taken on a life of its own and continues to terrify unsuspecting readers to this day, 20 years later. Some believe the Rake may be real or based on actual cryptids, given its similarity to the Chupacabra and the Skinwalker, leading to a blur in accounts of encounters between fiction and fact, since, of course, claims of encounters with chupacabras or skinwalkers are usually authentic. The Harbinger Experiment. The Harbinger Experiment is a story about the hubris of scientific discovery. It follows the narrator, who is a medical doctor, and his experience surviving the experiment, and a famous and evil scientist known as Zimmerman, who had been disgraced for his fascination with the paranormal and the occult. Zimmerman built a concrete compound from scratch and lured 3 test subjects to it under the guise of a study on the effects of human isolation, promising a large payout. After sealing the subjects in their rooms, Zimmerman gathered the staff in the control room, a space with microphones and monitors connected to security cameras to observe. He then began chanting in a strange language over the microphone. Suddenly, the ground shook and all 3 monitors showing the subjects' rooms turned to static. All the staff could hear was agonized screaming for hours. They left when the screaming stopped to get some sleep. When they returned, 1 subject was dead. Later, a second monitor started working again. Zimmerman instructed 4 security guards to investigate the remaining room with a broken camera. After the security guards opened the chamber door, the creature burst from the room and attacked the guards. While the security guards did manage to kill the escaped creature by shooting it, 1 guard died and another was badly injured. The staff began to hear a Tiny Tim song echo through the hallways, seemingly without a source. Over time, the music became unbearably loud. Hours later, the ground began to shake, the power flickered out, and the music abruptly stopped. The entire staff watched the door in anticipation until it burst open, and the music roared back to life with a vengeance. The final subject escaped, ripping the entire crew in half, one by one, starting with Zimmerman. Only the narrator managed to escape. Years later, the narrator says he hears the music rising in the distance, and he knows the final subject is there to kill him. It's either that or Tiny Tim was mysteriously jamming on his ukulele in the hallway. We're not sure which is worse. Slender Man. Slender Man is a mysterious creature almost as ubiquitous as Creepypasta itself. He is abnormally tall, completely white, bald, and has no face. He is usually wearing a black suit and tie. Beyond these basic features, accounts of his appearance vary. Sometimes he's taller, much taller, up to 15 feet. He has a penchant for appearing in photographs when invisible to the naked eye. He seems to have a favorite kind of victim, as he's associated with missing children. In photos, he is sometimes difficult to spot, especially in grayscale. He likes to stand on the edge of wooded areas and shape his arms into long, branching tentacles that blend into the trees. According to some accounts, he also sprouts numerous similar tentacles from his back. In more modern interpretations, he appears without tentacles and is visible to the naked eye, existing more as a humanoid monster and seeming less idolic. Often he would approach children, insidiously gaining their trust and curiosity before capturing them. In early accounts, his victims were found impaled on trees, bleeding out. Later, Slender Man began to hunt, torture, and kill adult victims. The character of Slender Man was originally created by Victor Surge on the Something Awful forum. Although clearly fictional, Surge's photo manipulations were so compelling that Slender Man became a legend that some people truly believe. Today, Slender Man has his own video game called Slender and appears in innumerable pieces of media. He bears a strong resemblance to characters appearing in the Backrooms and is often associated with the Rake, given that they are both lanky white humanoids, which isn't so scary if you've been to Seattle. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary is a world-famous game and urban legend. While the game often varies regionally, players usually stand in front of a mirror at midnight, either in complete darkness or with a candle, and chant Bloody Mary's name 3 times. After playing the game, depending on the variation, Bloody Mary may kill you, drive you mad, or pull you into the mirror with her. If she decides to kill you, she may decapitate you, tear out your eyes, or severely disfigure you. The modern myth claims that Bloody Mary is the spirit of Mary Worth, a troubled mother who either died by suicide or murdered her own children. The legend is said to have been inspired by Queen Mary of England, who was known for persecuting her subjects during her reign. The game rests soundly today as an enduring rite of passage for children, trying to scare each other at sleepovers. However, some still swear that when they played, they saw Mary Worth's tortured face in the mirror, a grim warning to let her spirit rest. The Russian Sleep Experiment. The Russian Sleep Experiment is a story of an experiment from the 1940s involving the forced sleep deprivation of 5 human subjects. The subjects, who are political prisoners to Russia, agree to participate with the promise of freedom if they stay awake for 30 days. The promise is disingenuous, but of course it doesn't ultimately matter. The experiment was created to test a gas-based stimulant and involved locking the prisoners in a concrete room with food, water, and porthole-sized windows, with thick glass through which to monitor the 5 men. Morale among the subjects declines over the course of the first 5 days. After that, they begin to experience psychological distress and paranoia, turning on one another and attempting to appeal to the test administrators. As the experiment progresses, the prisoners slowly go completely mad. They whisper continuously into the microphones inside the chamber for 9 days. They scream for hours, paste feces-covered pages to the windows of the chamber, and finally fall silent. When the experimenters open the chamber to check on the subjects, they find a grotesque scene, with 1 man dead and the other 4 disemboweled. Many of their rations were untouched. The experimenters came to the horrifying conclusion that the subjects were eating their own flesh. By the end of the story, there's only 1 test subject left alive. He's far removed from any real resemblance to a human being. But when asked what exactly he is, he reminds the reader, "Have you forgotten so easily? We are you." Maybe, but most people aren't constantly repressing the urge to rip off and eat their own calves. Thank you for watching our explanation of 8 iconic creepypastas and characters. Don't forget to like and subscribe. What should we cover next? Leave a comment down below. See you next time, and remember not to participate in any human experiments, ever.